Have you heard about that? Have you read about that? Just 2 days ago, if you're reading your stuff, but you don't. But the thing is, Netanyahu is holding back the tax money from the Palestinian in West Bank, and he's not giving it to
You're so funny, man. You're so funny.
No, you're just so ignorant.
You're saying all the money that's going to Hamas is coming through Israel? Sure.
Filtered through Israel.
Sure.
Filtered through Israel.
Yeah, all the money from Iran going right through Israel. Sure. That's likely. All the money from Qatar.
The transfer by Netanyahu in 2019, the Likud party, telling them that he is actually overlooking the amount of money coming from Qatar, and he is doing that in order to split the Palestinian Authority. Listen to him.
I'm familiar with this. I'm not disagreeing with.
How about you listen, educate yourself about that.
He said, if you're the prime minister of Israel, it's like, well, if I'm Netanyahu, I'm going to do exactly what he's doing. No. If you're Bassem, like, you cannot transplant me in a position of this guy who prime minister says, like, all right, here it is. Deal with it. No. And because the way that they ask the question is like, what? Like Piers Morgan. I really don't know exactly what that's what they do. I don't know. I mean, I don't
I'm
know.
a baby.
I don't know.
I don't have the capacity for abstract thought anymore.
I don't know. Because here's the thing. Here's what happens with these questions. These questions effectively erase everything before October 7th.
Yes.
As if October 7th happened in a vacuum. As if those Hamas people were like zombies and cannibals and vampires that went out of nothing. I mean, you can talk about them being terrorists and everything, but at the end of the day, those people had families that were bombed, kids that were being killed, wives that were being murdered and raped and all of that. And at a certain point, you have to push back.
The other. What is a proportionate response? Does Israel have the right to defend itself? Do you condemn Hamas? Does Israel have the right to exist? October 7th, decapitated babies. Women were raped. Babies were put in the oven. They are killing babies. October 7th. Why don't the Arab take in the Palestinians? Where is the outrage when Muslims kill other Muslims? Why don't you talk about Syria, Libya, Sudan, Yemen? October 7th, you are anti-Semitic. You are a Jew hater. You are a terrorist sympathizer. Do you condemn Hamas? October 7th. We will talk about everything except the killing that is happening every day as we sit here discussing bullshit talking points.
You can talk whatever you want about the Houthis and the Hezbollah and whatever, but you have liars. You have people who are patent
We have liars on both sides.
Yes, but one of them has the power, and one of them is taking my tax dollars and your tax dollars to
Iran.
I will tell the people who say that Israel, the Jewish people have more right in this land, more the Palestinian. I have one question for them. Explain to me why is that so without using religion?
Without using religion?
Yeah.
I understand the point.
Because what do they say? Because like God gave it to us. Which God? We are the chosen one. Chosen by whom? It's a promised land. Promised by whom? Your God. It's not my God.
I don't think any of it should be based on religion.
But here's the thing. All of like the liberal Zionists, I'm talking about the liberal Zionists now, who like support Israel. This like we are secular, we're democratic, we separation of church and state. And when it talks about Israel, it's biblical.
And you've condemned Hamas, and you recognize Israel's right to exist as well.
Oh yes, of course. Well, I mean, what is the use of this kind of question? Does it make sense to you? This whole idea about like the moral checkpoint question that doesn't like lead to anywhere. And then when we ask the same question about Palestinians, we are faced with like all kinds of things about their terrorists, their animals. It's just like doesn't make sense.
Yes, we could talk about this endlessly.
Like all of these questions doesn't make it. It just fills the air.
Finding
useless questions. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Israel? Do you condemn Israel? Does it matter if you condemn Israel? We've been condemning Israel. They're doing whatever they want.
Yes.
These are like haven't you just like reached a point where you're looking at these questions are very stupid?
First of all, I don't think it's the worst genocide in history, but it is horrific.
Well, it's the worst genocide as we're seeing it.
In a modern, right, to play out in real time. Right,
I mean, it's not a competition. All right, there are worse genocide, but at least it's the only genocide that has been filmed over, like alive, and we're seeing it in real time. Maybe other genocide, we knew about it after they were done.
Right.
But now we're living it day by day, and we're seeing it, and nobody is doing anything about it. So honestly, I don't care about Joe Biden, and I kind of like, I call him Joe Geriatric Genocide Biden. He is he's the worst mockery of a genocide enabler in history. The people's like, all right, that's Donald Trump. Israel is doing the same. They're doing. Remember when we were out all the rage about like babies killed in incubators, then baby killed of hungers, and then people killed in stampede, and then it's old news now. Remember when we were talking about did Hamas or did Israel bomb the Al Ahli hospital, and since then Israel bombed 36 hospitals? It's just they move too fast, and by the time you just like catch up and you corner them, it's like, well, I'm entitled. I mean, like, if you talk about it, you're anti-Semitic. I'm doing this to protect myself. Here's the thing: every time Israel say like Israel have the right to defend itself, Israel had the right to exist, and I would say like Israel have the right to go F itself.
Accountable. And as an American citizen, I want to know all of these money that we are giving to Israel. We're giving them $4 billion every year. Joe Biden said it's the best investment America ever done. Well, if I am in the place of Joe Biden, go down and whisper in the ears of Netanyahu and tell them, I hate bad investments. They haunt me, like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. But the thing is, this is the problem. Israel always victimizes itself, and I have never seen a victim putting their oppressor under siege and bombing them 24/7. Israel wants you to believe that they are the victim. Dealing with Israel is so difficult. It's like being in a relationship with a narcissistic psychopath. He fucks you up, and then he makes you think it's your fault.
All right,
you look at Israel as Superman, but they're really Homelander. Wallahi, they are shooting fish in a barrel, and they are annoyed with the splashes. Nubian origin. It's not about black and white. It's about the continuous culture appropriation and falsification of history that has been done by what the so-called Afrocentrist movement. But the thing is, that's why you find people like Kevin Hart, who subscribes to these theories, who claim that his ancestors built the pyramids. I'm sorry, your ancestors had their own wonderful civilization in West Africa. They are culture appropriating my culture, calling the people of Egypt of today, despite their skin tone, that they call us as invaders, they call us as intruders, and they are being erased from our own history. This is something that Hollywood has done over the years.
Other people said, well, okay, if you feel that strongly, why aren't you taking in any Palestinians? Why is Egypt not taking Palestinians? Why does the Arab world want to constantly attack Israel without actually offering any place to go for the Palestinians? And what do you say to that?
That is exactly what Israel wants. And that is exactly what might actually starts Third War III. The whole idea, why does Jordan take them? Why does Egypt take them? The same question. Europe has 44 countries. Why don't they take Israel? America has 50 states. Why don't they give them Florida? I mean, we seem to complain about Florida the whole time. Why don't they just like give Israel? The whole idea was like, oh, you're Arabs, you're all the same. No. Because what will happen then? So Israel will move into Jordan? That's like, oh, Saudi, why don't you take the Jordanian?
So
this is not a solution. This is not a solution. But I'm sorry, you said some of the money, like the flour, the flour massacre, the people were killed as they were collecting the flour. That is the kind of money that Hamas was taking.
If you'll let me get in.
Okay.
What American people will say is that there's no Hamas on the other side. There's no Hamas comparison in Israel.
Interesting. So let's talk about Hamas. How did Hamas originate? And I'm sorry. And can I just like a pop quiz? 2019. Who said this? In order to prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state, Netanyahu. So Netanyahu basically he was caught on tape many times bragging about sending money to Hamas. So every time you tell me Hamas, I will tell you Netanyahu. So can we just like enough of that, because I'm really sick and tired of like this same conversation again. You guys are talking about Hamas, and Hamas has been bolstered and being financed under the eyes and nose of Netanyahu. So I don't. Let's say, for example, what happened in Al-Shifa hospital, which is the biggest hospital. After they massacred everybody, Naftali Bennett and all of the Israeli spokesmen, they went in the same exact way. 200 terrorists were killed, 500 were captured, 6,000 civilians evacuated, 0 civilians killed. And then you see all of this. Good job. Yes. That's the news now. Now we have videos, footage saying now there were people that were killed by being tied. There were like people being bulldozed. These are the dead bodies of children and women. You know what they say? It's doctored videos. It's Al Jazeera. Maybe they are, but they were Hamas. If they're not Hamas, they are civilians. If they're civilians, they're supporting Hamas. They voted for Hamas. And even though they're collateral damage, it's fine to kill them. It doesn't matter anymore because they will always have a justification.
After that, the military seized power from the Islamists. I called John, I said, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. The new authority is too popular, too loved. I'm scared people would turn against me and I would lose my popularity. So he said, well, you need to ask yourself, do you want to do comedy or do you want to do something that would last forever? So I went all the way, I pushed the envelope, I spoke up, and as expected, my show was canceled. People turned against me. I faced lawsuits and defamation, and I had to escape from Egypt. So f you, John. Seriously, man. Thanks for nothing, buddy. I don't know what happened. I could have stayed and be a sellout, a very rich sellout. You had to be an inspiration. But I'm glad I'm here to tell you I love you, man.
And Israel has been very vocal about it. They want to push those people, and they want to clear Gaza, and they will push it in Sinai. And the whole thing about like being there for temporarily, we know it's not going to happen. Israel never gave back land voluntarily. They gave up Sinai after a war. They gave up the Oslo Agreement after the Intifada. They withdrew from Lebanon after they had like a lot of resistance. So Israel is not really about peace, and the whole thing about like, oh, we want peace, it's put. We know you don't even talk about children starved to death, or people killing each other for flour, or babies dying because there's no electricity in the incubators. We don't even speak about that because we forgot. Just like it's become so normal. We don't talk about the little people that were like mutilated and killed. We don't even talk about sexual violence against Palestinians. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that because it became so more normal. Just because it's are you still talking about that? Are you still talking about the incubators? We have passed that. We now killing them in front of you on cameras, and we will deny it. And you're not gonna be able to do anything about it. And if you speak about it, you're an anti-Semite. You see, you see how it is so stupid.
I told Benjamin Netanyahu that the situation in Gaza is increasingly intolerable.
Is increasingly intolerable. You see, I don't even need to comment. I need to just repeat what he said, which is interesting, that after 6 months, 30,000 people killed, 80% of the place destroyed, 100% of the people displaced, 50% of the victims were children, but it is starting to get a little bit uncomfortable. Then you move on, and then you get overwhelmed.
Do you think there's anything that the West can do?
The West has lost its balls. The West has no balls, they have no courage, and there is absolutely no honor letting Israel do whatever they want to do.
I'm grateful that you were a heart surgeon, but I'm so glad that you stopped.
Oh, me too. I mean, like, seriously, I think the decision of me stopping, just like giving up medicine, I think I have saved so many lives.
Hold on.
Let me put it in a different way. Because I'm not a doctor anymore, many more patients are alive today. You see, that's a better punchline. I just edited it.
Let me give you an example of how your ego plays tricks on you. I'm sure that you did that one time. You post something, a picture, a post, or a video, and then you have a lot of comments cheering for you, supporting you. But you scroll down to that one negative comment, right? And then you let it ruin your day. It's not even your ego, it's your inflated ego that became so inflated because of social media. Because you became programmed by that dopamine hit. Everybody should love me. No, they shouldn't. And you should stop seeking that. Do you think you are more famous than Taylor Swift? You think you are more skilled than Mo Salah? You think you are much bigger and stronger than Big Ramy? I once saw Big Ramy putting in a video of him working out, and a skinny guy posted to him, "You're doing it wrong."
Please.
Palestine is like a fishbowl. A fishbowl. It's a lot of fish. It's condensed. There's like so much fish in so little air. And Israel is like the person over that bowl and just like crashing the bowl, killing the bowl, taking the fish anytime. Because we talk about hostages, but we never talk about Palestinian hostages. There are like before October 7th, 5,000 Palestinian hostages in the prison of Israel. Now there's 12,000. Every single day, Israel can go in any house, take the house, burn the land, burn the olive oil, take the people, put them in. Isn't that hostage? That is a hostage situation that's been going on for years. So Israel can do anything with this fishbowl. At a certain point, Israel is just hovering over that fishbowl. And then at one moment, a fish crazy enough, suicidal enough, will jump from the bowl through the air, bite the pinky of Israel. And Israel like, oh my God, that bitch bit my pinky. My hand was not even in the bowl. And then they go in and they destroy the bowl. And all you can see is Israel pinky. You know what I call this? Tunnel vision.
Yes.
It's very sad. The fact that like you tell, like we should applaud Israel for warning civilians before bombing them. Wow. Dude, How amazing. It's like the fact that they lie. I mean, the fact that like when Israel said like Hamas has a base, a military base under the hospital. Do you have any proof? Here's a CGI video. What? That's what we have. And you have to believe it. But if you don't believe it, you're anti-Semitic. Ooh, you're anti-Semite.
You know, and when you talk about genocide, or, you know, you think about Rwanda or Cambodia or the Second World War, or, you know, millions of people dying. Do you think that's an appropriate accusation to level at Israel
we
now?
have to wait until a million Palestinians are killed, then we
That's
can
what
call
I
that
mean.
genocide.
So,
of course, yeah. What happens is that it's not genocide. It's just like light tickling.
So at what point does something
remember
become
the
genocide?
enhanced interrogation, the waterboarding? It's not torture. It's enhanced interrogation. It's too much killing. How about that? It's just that's why I don't even like engage about all of it, because it's just words. Genocide, not genocide, genocide. And as me and you wasting time deciding if it's genocide or not, already 10 people were shot as we speak.
What can be done with the countries that are quote unquote shitholes?
Okay, give me a country like a shithole. Give me an example.
I'm looking at the unemployment rates in all these countries.
Give me one country.
Afghanistan,
Okay.
Syria,
Afghanistan.
Lebanon.
Why Afghanistan became a shithole country?
Because they endorsed the Taliban.
They did. They did.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little bit of a reductive way to tell history? Because at the beginning, there was no Taliban, and then the Soviet Union came in, and then America came in, supported the Taliban, make them bigger than they were, and then at the end of the day, they support. If you remember Rambo 3 was supporting the Taliban, so Taliban was really cool, and even they were even hailed by right-wing Christians as freedom fighters, anti-communists. And then what happened? America, some people like the Richard Wilson wall wanted him to come in to put some schools. That no. We spend all of this money of tanks on weapons. We don't need to put them schools. What happened? Taliban flourished, all because of America interfered, made it shitty, left everything. Taliban flourished, and then America went in again, spent $2 billion, making it even $2 trillion, made it even worse. So when you tell me like a country is not surviving, it's not because there are bad people there. No. You have to come into the root cause. Every single country that you said, I can bring you the root cause of how America and the West has fucked this country to become.
Go to Syria. Go to.
First of all, what is your reaction to what happened on October the 7th?
Oh, it was terrible, of course. I mean, we kind of get our news kind of also secondhand because, you know, my wife's family, they live in Gaza. They have cousins and uncles there, and their house also was bombed. We haven't been able to communicate with them for the past 3 days. Communication are lost. So we don't know actually what is the, how are they doing, but, you know, we're used to that. I mean, it's just like, it's very repetitive. We're used to that. We're used to them being bombed every time and moving from one place to the other. You know, it's just like those Palestinians, they're very dramatic. Israel killing us. But they never die. I mean, they always come back. You know, they're very difficult to kill, very difficult people to kill. I know because I'm married to one. I tried many times, couldn't kill her.
I mean, there's a dark humor there, and I understand why. Because
no, it's not dark humor. I try to get to her every time, but she uses our kids as human shields. I can never take her out.
If your only choice is killing children and killing unarmed civilians, and show me one war where 80% of a place were destroyed, 50% of the victims were children, and 100% of the population were displaced, and then you tell me you don't have any other choice? Well, if I am the Prime Minister of Israel, I wouldn't have done the stuff that would have led to October 7th.
Is boycotting something that you do, or do you preach for?
I don't preach for anything. I myself do not use many of these things even before the boycott.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, like McDonald's or Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks is a sorry excuse for coffee, and McDonald's is shitty sandwiches. I don't even consume them.
Yeah.
Even before that, not because of boycott or anything, because these are really shitty products, right? Yeah. And I don't know why there's so much hype. And many of the stuff that's on the list, I don't use it because they're not healthy.
Yeah.
As much so, but. If I have a choice, I don't really go, and I cannot really say that I live in America. I pay taxes to the American government that actually supports Israel, so I cannot be hypocritical about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, as an American, I can say whatever I want about Trump or Biden, and then I come to Israel and all of these like booby traps that you cannot go into. It is unfair, and it's against the freedom of expression, and that is against the promise that America and the West give the people to tell them to come to us. I've voiced my opinion. So when I went on the Piers Morgan show, knowing that I can lose stuff, which I did, And also I can lose my people because if I didn't go hard enough. The only way that I did, you say that my satire was dark. You know why my satire was dark? Because reality was darker. Because we were like sitting there talking, like commending Israel for warning people before they bomb them. It's just, what? This is satire. This is satire. The fact that like they are killing people and they feel sad about it. And then I read about it. There is that expression in Hebrew called yorim v'bushim. Have you heard about it? Yorim v'bushim. It literally translates to shooting and crying. And it's like it refers to a group of media and books and movies in the Israeli media when the soldiers talk about how sad they are for shooting people and shooting the enemy. We see that in American movies there. It's not about the thousands of people they killed, but it's all about the mental health of the soldiers who pulled the trigger. And that's why we tell like, oh, we're killing civilians. It's unfortunate. What? So I actually coined a new name for Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Geriatric Genocide Biden. The guy is not even like good enough to be a genocide guy. He's geriatric. He's dementic. And I want him to go back down in history, losing this for people, because people need to understand that you cannot. Yes,
as a significant voice in the Arab American community, you're telling me you want Joe Biden to lose.
I want him to lose. I don't care about Trump winning, but I want Joe Biden to win because this guy, he's one of we ask for him is ceasefire. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. How difficult is this?
One of your favorite words, jihad.
That's my favorite hobbies.
But the basic idea that he's proposing is that this idea of jihad, in the negative connotation of it, of martyrdom, is a thing that is counterproductive, is destructive to the possible future flourishing of Palestinian people. What do you think of that? There's just the idea of martyrdom.
I totally agree, but like people don't wake up in the morning and say like, I want to declare jihad. Think about it. Why would anybody choose to end his life by taking other people with him and end that life? His life must be miserable. He must be pushed into that. Nobody chooses death over life willingly. One of the first suicide bombers in the Palestinian resistance were Christians. We don't talk about that. You can go and nitpick every single religion. There are Jews there, like Ben Ghafir, who openly say spitting on Christians is not a hate speech. All right? There are, you can bring me like all kind of videos of Islamic jihadists saying horrible things on YouTube, and I can bring you Jews who live there. They're so like, we're going to have the whole world enslaved for us, and everybody would love to be slaves for the Jews. You know, I can use the Talmudic argument that if you tie a man to a tree and he dies of thirst and hunger, you didn't kill that man. And this is kind of the same arguments like, we're not killing Palestinians, it's just like killing and they're dying by themselves, you know? So it is the nitpicking of a certain narrative, religious narrative, that is separate from the political context and what's happening right now. It's very, very unfair, because I can read, if you want to have a deep dive into religious texts, nobody will be happy. And I can bring stuff from the Talmud and the Torah and stuff that is horrible. But like, you know, this is a way again of like distraction.
They bombed in like the amount of bombs they bombed in 6 days more than America bombed in 1 year on Iraq. It's crazy. So all of that bombs and all of that nitrate and all of that white phosphorus and all of that actually, Gaza now is really unlivable. It makes it impossible for people to come back. But before that, remember how Israel is promoting itself all around the world as like, they're making the desert bloom, we have the best. They don't tell you that they use the Palestinian land as a dumping ground. All of the sewage, all of this, they dump it into the Palestinians. Palestinians are not allowed to have any agricultural land outside of Area C, which is the most fertile in all of the West Bank. Palestinians are not allowed to dig for wells. They're not allowed to dig to expand their wells. They're not allowed, even if they would put rain cisterns to collect rainwater, it's being removed by the occupation. Not even allowed to collect rainwater. And
one of the most common sentence that you hear from Arabs all around the world is like, oh, the West doesn't care about us. They don't listen to us. And I think like maybe part of it that we don't speak to them with their language. I live in the United States. It's a nation of immigrants. Arabs are kind of like relatively new immigrants to the States. The other people who've been there, they have been exposing the rest of the United States to their culture through arts, through comedy, through entertainment. And we, as Arabs, we have been kind of like talking to ourselves. And I think you need to cross over. You need to make them like understand your culture, see you as humans, as equals. Because if you don't have that kind of a connection, then you lose empathy. You know, if someone comes up and make fun of themselves and make fun of the culture, make fun of you, and then suddenly it's endearing, it's beautiful. So I don't want to be like someone who just like talk to his own people. I don't want to be preaching to the choir. I need some white people to come in to understand this and also to make fun of them. Yeah. They need to be the butt of the joke. I mean, you colonize the world. Like the least that we can do in return is to make fun of you.
How does it feel to have propelled Piers Morgan's career?
Yeah, I think I think he owes me a percentage. But to be fair, that propelled my career too.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have to say, I'm gonna. Yes, it helped me. But I think, and I came on Piers Morgan. I said the same thing. I said, I was doing well. I was having a decent career. What happened after my interview with him, it propelled my career even to a higher level.
Right.
But I'm happy, and I'm happy to say it, and I don't hide from it.
Yeah.
Because it's a message to tell people that you can still be on the right side and say the right thing and not to be cancelled.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And you should not be punished when you say the right thing, because that is the status quo. That anybody that speaks up in this issue gets cancelled, loses his job. I was lucky enough to be in a business that it actually helped me. I mean, I lost stuff. I lost stuff in Hollywood. In the past 3 years, actually before October 7th, I was doing very well. I was a SAG, I'm still a SAG-AFTRA member. I was doing the minimum, more than the minimum to get healthcare insurance.
Oh, that's big. That's
a great thing, right?
That's a big one.
Yeah, this year I'm gonna lose my health insurance for the first year because it dried up. I have no auditions. Nobody is coming
we'll
up.
We'll get you more pitch.
Yeah, but on the other side, I gained more on the stand-up comedy, and no rape, no decapitation, nothing. All of these were refuted. Even the New York Times piece and the Guardian retracted them because they were taken for a ride. So if you have the highest-rated official going in and saying lies, and now you created this image, I'm telling you, on the October 8th, when that happened, when I heard that the people were killed and decapitated, it's like, oh, fuck them. Go in and kill everybody. The Muslim, the Arabs, like that because that was the image I had. Does it make it less horrific that there were just 759 just killed, most of them killed by maybe firepower from the Israeli? No, it's still horrific. But you created that image so people now are prepared and prepped to go in and kill everybody. This is blind rage. Today was an impossibility to come here, especially that I flew using Ryanair, which can turn you off from life itself. But I couldn't pass on this unique honor. If we all stand together for resistance, resilience, and the quest for freedom, no one can do it like the Irish. Today, I'm honored by the Irish. Today, I can't wait to laugh with the Irish. And maybe I will be touched by the luck of the Irish. Yes, today I'm Irish, and I want to experience life like an Irish, except maybe drinking like an Irish. Well, maybe if I have to fly Ryanair again, I need to drink like the Irish. You guys, the students, give us hope. And I hope that one day when you grow up, you don't become the same people that are oppressing you, the same people that are in power. One day you're going to be in positions and in situations where you're going to have to make the rules. And I hope that your innocence and your integrity is not spoiled and corrupted by the bullshit world that we live in. Thank you so much. Bye.
So can you elaborate a little bit on the most memorable moment of your career?
There are many. I mean, it is the night that Jon Stewart came on my show in Cairo.
Wow.
I mean, being on his show was already something huge. Can you imagine having your idol, watching him on television and then being on his show? Now imagine him coming to your show. This is, and I remember I told myself they can cancel the show now. I don't care. I mean, that's the peak of my, and actually being on introducing him, giving tribute to Jon Stewart when he received the Mark Twain Prize. I was the only non-American that invited to that. I had I shared the stage with people like Dave Chappelle, Pete Davidson, Steve Carell, some of the best comedians, and I was there with them. So these are really memorable. I mean, when I got the Time 100 Most Influential People 2012. I'm very grateful for these moments. So I became this, guy who does the show.
And I woke up one day and there's a warrant for my arrest from the Islamists. So I went there and I was interrogated for 6 hours.
Why is there a warrant?
I was accused of 4 accounts: insulting the president, insulting Islam, spreading false rumors, and disrupting the fabric of society, whatever the fuck that means. And then
where is there? You're taken there. Do they come get you or do you go?
So the warrant was against me and I turned myself into the general prosecutor. Yeah, and for 6 hours they're asking me to explain my jokes.
Nah, that's the worst thing
I know.
That is brutal.
I know. It's crazy. They're asking me. They're asking me, and it's crazy. It's like, what did you mean by this joke? So I said nothing. So why did the people laugh? It's like, guys, are you kidding me? And it was like for 6 hours, and they tried to even play the episodes, but they were playing it on a very outdated computer, so it was not working. So they ended up having transcripts, reading joke by joke. And the worst part about it is like, as they were reading my jokes, I was thinking, damn, these jokes are not that funny. So I
need new writers.
I know. Yeah, I did. So like, I went out on bail and I fired half of my staff. So.
Do you think in America particularly, though, maybe even more broadly, that we've lost the ability to have sensible conversations?
Well, again, it's about ratings. It's about circus. It's about like getting views, and the news has become like something that's sensational instead of being informative.
Yeah, but is there also something, and maybe this is due to social media today, where we find it more difficult to hear things, consume things that we disagree with? I mean, we obviously encounter it every day covering the conflict in the Middle East, but more broadly, people saying, "Why do I have to listen to this person? I don't want to hear these views. I don't want to hear that side."
Well, because like it ends like to the good old rabbit hole. It's like you kind of like you follow the views, the people that agree with you. You shut out the people that don't agree with you, and suddenly you're kind of like into this bubble, and that's why flat earthers exist.
All of these people. I mean, it's sad that there's a lot of Arabs who are supporters of Trump.
Yeah.
Yes,
indeed.
they say like, yes, show them, and we have seen how that can bite them in the butt. I mean, there was like a family, a Syrian family, that were denied entry in the United States. They voted for Trump. They are Christians, and they were denied entry into the United States because they looked, they sounded, their names were Middle Eastern.
Right.
It's a very dangerous game to support hate because you think it works well for you, because it doesn't.
Right. You had an election and people kind of like didn't accept it and went and wanted to take things in their own hand. But what happened in January 6th, I mean, the worst thing that happened on there is the comparisons. Like people like the pundit on the news were saying, oh my God, this looks like a coup from the Middle East. And this kind of hurt my feeling because, no, seriously. First of all, when we have a coup in the Middle East, it works. You guys suck. You guys.
We're new. This is new. We're trying.
Keep to what you do best, toppling democracy in the other countries. But like when you come to your country, you suck. And the thing is like, and then every time it's like, oh, coup in the Middle East, white ISIS, Texas Taliban. Get your own references. I mean, it's why are we being dragged into this every time?
To your knowledge, are world leaders free in decision-making or influenced by deep state?
Countries are run by governments, and governments are run by people, and people are easily bought. If you buy enough people, you have bought the government and you have bought the country. I mean, it is not really an example, for example, of the Congress. I mean, when you have like 80% or 90% that is supported by AIPAC or finance, and they basically do decisions and finances that is not good for the American voters, it's good for another country. This is a bribe. Yes. This is so. It's really yes. If you have enough money, you'll buy enough people, and you'll buy the government.
Right. You've been accused in speaking out of anti-Semitism. How do you react to that? Does it hurt you? Does it annoy you, or you don't care?
No. It became an empty accusation. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Came a time where the accusation anti-Semite would freeze the blood in people's vein. Not anymore, because now it's been overused and it's been manipulated and it's been actually abused. Now anti-Semitism for them now it means like anti-Israel. And it's fine to be anti-Israel. People are anti-Britain, anti-US, anti-France, anti-Egypt, anti-Saudi Arabia, and nobody is throwing all kind of accusation against them, because at the end of the day, I can be anti certain countries' policy if I don't agree with them. But when you call people anti, I mean, they call Jewish people anti-Semite. They call rabbis anti-Semite. They call Jonathan Glazer, who is a Jewish Israeli director who won the Oscar about a movie about the Holocaust, they call him an anti-Semite. This accusation of anti-Semite is now become a comical accusation, doesn't mean anything. And by the way, I'm an Arab. I'm a Semite myself. So it's a very laughable accusation.
Chosen people. But that idea that they're chosen, that they can do whatever they want because they're chosen by God. But that's fine. They can believe whatever they want. Mm-hmm. But what the thing is, the Christian Zionists who call them to God-chosen people, so if they're chosen, why don't you join them? Why don't you convert to Judaism? Or don't you feel that you're gonna be left out if you're not chosen? Like if I call you that you're the chosen people and I don't join you, there's something wrong with my head. Like they're the chosen people, so I want to be chosen too.
Humanity is very disappointing.
Humanity is disappointing? Why would you say
the famous saying, humans are terrible people.
I don't associate with any specific ethnicity or specific. I love all of humanity. I want everything to be right?
I'm so sorry for you, man.
Yeah.
All of humanity. You're gonna be disappointed, man. Humanity is very disappointing.
Humanity is disappointing?
Of course.
Why would you say that?
The famous saying, humans are terrible people.
No, but think, why would you say that? Most of humanity is not disappointing. Most of humanity is just trying to make ends meet, trying to get by. Some of humanity is pieces of shit.
And they are the ones in charge.
Yeah. For example, how many of us will go and shoot kids in school, and how many of us will disapprove of school shootings?
How many of us see that the problem of school shooting and don't do anything about it?